Hello, everyone. This is a final exam information session about for the RLS 100, Life, Leisure, and Pursuit of Happiness. A lot of information are actually in the study guide, the top part, but I wanted to elaborate some of that so that, we learn differently. So you may be good at the reading, but you may prefer actually video. So here I am, and I hope that you find this video helpful. First of all, just quick overview of the final exam basics. The date and time, the date is December 14th. That's a Monday. And then everything in here and the study guide, it's Edmonton time. So if you're in a different time zone, please make sure that you know the time difference and you adjust things accordingly. So we have our two time slots from which you can choose. One is 2 to 4 p.m. and that's determined by the U of A. So I have no control whatsoever. So that's what it is. And it shouldn't overlap with the final exam, other final exams that you have. And if you do, if you do, just let me know as soon as possible. That's very important. The other time I'm giving is 6 to 8 p.m. because I'm thinking about some of you who are in a very different time zones, such as China, for example, or you really have strong reasons, like very important reasons to, for example, take care of your family member or work. You have to work for some reasons during the daytime, things like that. So hopefully one of them at least work. So we already finished the polling. So I hope that you told me your preference. And the default is 2 to 4. So if you didn't make your preference clear in the polling on E-class, that's fine. Your choice is basically 2 to 4. If it doesn't work, just let me know ASAP. Now, actually, one of you told me that, hey, going between the two E-class links and everything, smart exam monitors and everything, it's going to take a little bit of time and you would appreciate the break in the middle. I get that, and that's a little small thing that I can do to hopefully make your exam a little less stressful. So I'm happy to do it. I think so. I'm going to make extend exam time 15 minutes a little before. So not 2 to 4, but 2 to 4:15. And within that, you're going to finish about 2 hour worth exam. Does that make sense? Multiple choice and short answer. So that's like a half an hour and 1.5 hour. That stays the same, right? 30 minutes, 90 minutes, that's the same. It's total, that's 2 hour, right? That's according to the university regulation. But I'm going to give you a little more window, and hopefully that doesn't overlap with anything else. It's just a 15 minutes, so that if you want to take a short bathroom break or something in the middle, and also set up, move to the next smart exam monitor, you can do so accordingly. And same thing happens to 6 to 8 p.m. too. Not just 6 to 8 right p.m., 8 p.m. right on, but to 8:15, so a little extra breathing time you can take in the middle. Now also you will be able to start your SEM monitor before. I will set it up 15 minutes before, hopefully, so that around 1:45, for example, you can sign up for the SEM, calibrate everything. So please be on time. Okay, so otherwise, if you lose your time on that, I'm not going to be able to help with that. Okay, so please be on time. Now, in terms of the final grade, what's the percentage, what's the weight of this exam in your final grade? That depends. That depends on the choice you made earlier in this semester, right? When we dropped the chapter 14 right after midterm exam, I guess, if you chose to keep your 18%, second half quizzes, then your final exam is what's written in their original syllabus, which is 30%. But if you didn't do so, the default was moving that 3% because we dropped one chapter to the final exam. So that's going to be 33%. Okay. Same exam, you're going to be scored in the same way. But when it's calculated, when we multiply that with a certain number, that weighting will be a little different depending on the choice you made. And I'm going to clarify that one more time just so that I get your grading and everything correct later. Now, the final exam focuses on chapter 7 to 13 and without 12, chapter 12, right? No, chapter 12, I think. And so that's the basic. So it's not cumulative in that sense, but several key concepts from the first half, for the midterm content will appear, right? Especially in relation to some of the later, content. And probably you know this already because in the lecture I already started to bridge, connect certain things that we're talking in chapter, I don't know, 8 to pure leisure, somewhere to like serious leisure, things like that, deviant leisure to serious leisure, things like that. So you know that although already those connections exist, and that's what I'm going to focus on in a final exam as well. And these key concepts from the first half are already mentioned at the very bottom of the study guide as well. So check it out, please. So within this exam slot, maybe a little bit, 2 hours and 15 minutes or so, of course, you have to, log into the SEM, calibrate and things like that. That's the same drill we did for the midterm, so please do so. And what you do is you're going to do two things. First, multiple choice. There's going to be a link for that and the multiple choice. It's going to be depend on their, the number of their questions, but I'm thinking about 30 minutes or so. So it's not that different. It's actually the same as a midterm. So you would expect probably similar number of the questions as the midterms. Okay. And for the written part, we're going to have a little 30 minutes longer. Okay. So what I'm thinking is pretty much same as the midterm in terms of number of the questions and of course, the format and things like that. But it could be, I may add one question or more, one question possibly, but give or take same. Okay. So hopefully you have a little more breathing time, which, hopefully works with if you face a little bit of a technical problem or something like that too. There will be two different links on a class. There's basically two different SEM. Well, there's one SEM icon, but if you log into it, if you click into it, you will see one for multiple choice and one for written. And order don't really matter. It's your choice. If you start with the written, if you want to do so, go ahead. That's your choice. But of course, if you go with the multiple choice, then you have to finish the multiple choice first. Okay, you cannot just stop it and go to the written parts and go back and forth, something like that. You cannot do so. And also, it's important to note that finishing one of them quicker, like for example, let's say you finish your multiple choice within 20 minutes, that does not give extra 10 minutes to the other side. So what you have to do is make a double check, triple check if you have extra time. Okay. There's already a study guide. It's been several days already. So please check that on eClass toward the very bottom of the eClass. And of course, please don't use the past study guides. So I already have my, this year's already. So why not, right? Multiple choice will look similar, very similar to the chapter quizzes. And you know my pattern, you know how I do. So don't worry about that too much. I mean, format wise, okay? So practice well. And then take a look at some of the past chapter quizzes that you did. Is definitely a good practice too. You can maybe hide your, the correct answer and probably try to answer that too. Written answers. Some of the written answers will address very similar topics to the weekly activity post that we did, okay? From the midterm, you know this too. I do this. So some of you guys who actually did post it and get a comment from us, that's a good resources for you. So review those things and make sure that you have a good understanding. I will, I won't ask the same question. So I will tweak it a little bit one way or another, but that should be the foundation. That should be a very good basis on which you can work on basically. And there will be some advanced questions that kind of go across the chapters, connect chapters, and also sometimes going back to the first half of the key concepts from the first half of the course material as well. In terms of what you can use and what you cannot use, so we are basically again, quote unquote, open book exam, but what that means, what you can use is a very important question. You may use lecture video, although I don't really think you have a time to go through video per se. Lecture notes, the PowerPoints, the PDF that I provided you, the notes you took, of course, any notes you created from the scratch, that's of course yours too. Textbook, so you can go to the e-text. Sometimes SEM flags that, but that's okay. Flagging in SEM doesn't mean that it's just an AI capturing some of your anomalies, and that doesn't mean that you are considered to be cheating or something. Okay, so don't worry about that. Actually, our Faculty of Kinesiology, Sports and Recreation has granted me some funding, a little pocket of money, for me to hire extra TA. The person actually go through your recordings, So SEM will capture some of these screenshots if you do open up certain things that the system don't think that you're supposed to. Then my TA will go through it and make sure that it was just like textbook you're reading, your notes the notes you created, so it wouldn't be a problem. Okay, so that's happening, and then hopefully that information, then there's a TA, human beings taking a look at that, examining it. Hopefully that will make it a little more comfortable for you. That it's flagging by SEM is not an automatic cheating or anything. Okay. Okay, so you can use, what else you can use? You can use internet for dictionary purposes, okay, for dictionary purposes. I said that clear. And also you can use the internet when it's specified. If you remember, like, okay, cite a source or something like that. If you see something like that again, of course, you can use it. I don't expect you to remember the hyperlink. Now, you may not use the internet for other purposes, okay? Unless it's specified or dictionary purposes. Other than that, you cannot use it. I don't think it will even help either. So please, for the sake of yourself, I don't think you should. Now, others help in creating material that are partially made by others. You contributed it, but also other people use it, and that's also problematic according to the UOB's code of behavior. So please make sure that you don't use those things. And again, so we're going to use SEM, Smart Exam Monitor, that we used for the midterm. I am aware of the debate around this system. There are a few reasons why I'm using this. A is that we're still in this first semester and we're trying to figure out, and we haven't had a really good alternative yet to this method, especially in the middle of the semester, we didn't get any better resources, better than this one. Second, not just that we are using SEM and their flagged behavior automatically considered cheating in this course. We have additional resource, a person, actual human being, who is looking at any recorded screenshots or recording audio or anything to just make sure that you are doing exam correctly. Okay, so I think we have extra resource to pull to nicely, to rightly, and to ethically use this resource and technology. And another benefit is that you have gone through this once, so you know the drill, you know the experience. I know it's not necessarily the most comfortable experience, I get that, but that's our advantage that we can capitalize on. Okay, so and here's a little bit of tip and difference between the final exam and the midterm exam. For the midterm, we had a more flexibility in terms of the deferred exam, okay? However, here, we don't really. I cannot do defer for you if anything happened. And of course, successful submission of SEM recording is a requirement for the final exam to count, okay? So if anything happened in terms of technology for the evening session, 6 to 8 p.m., you would have to go through the official channel to get the deferred exam, which will be happening probably in January. That means you would have to study again in January or the end of the year, which I don't think you want to. Okay, so that's why I recommend that you go with the default time, which is 2 to 4 p.m., 4:15, I guess, now. That. Okay, and I'll be available during the exam time. So hopefully, if you have any questions, issue, we can work out by email, which we did actually for the midterm. I responded to over 100 emails in the first midterm session over 2 hours. So that was crazy, but we made it through. All right. And please, there's a resources about the SEM on a final exam resource section on a class. Same thing at the bottom. So please familiarize yourself with that again. And here are some tips that I learned about SEM. So sometimes you cannot allow your computer to have your computer allow SEM to access your camera or microphone because Zoom interferes. If you have used Zoom so much over the past few weeks, that could be a problem. When that happens, you have to reboot your computer, okay? And probably you don't want to reboot your computer like 5 minutes before the exam starts. Why? Because sometimes there's just updates, right? Computer takes some time to update. You don't want to have that, right? That kind of pressure. So make sure you reboot your computer, maybe a day before, so that computer will be nicely refreshed and it's compatible with the SEM. And you should have a functional webcam and a microphone. And of course, I don't care if you can just borrow something from your friends for the final exam. That's fantastic. You don't have to buy those things. One card, you need a one card or digital one card. There's apparently digital one card you can get from the U of A. So if you haven't got it, you can get it. For those of you, especially first year students. Any photo ID could work too, okay? So please, like a driver license, that works. Now, you cannot use multiple monitors. So I'm sorry for that, but you have to use one monitor, but you could use electronic notes in it, like Word file, PDF notes, fine. But please use only one screen. Now, finally, check out some of the SEM resources on a class as well. And I think I'm probably trying to make some mock exams, just a very simple thing. It's not attached to any points, so that if you want to refresh your memory about how SEM works, you can do it too. I will let you know once it's ready. So all in all, what I want to say, it's just good luck, and I think you got this. So prepare well, but I know this is a stressful time too. So hopefully you can have some leisure to yourself and making yourself not too miserable in this during stressful time. And I'm wishing you the good luck. Bye now.